Hello Goenkans. Today we are going to start chapter 4 of your book that is integers that's on page 68. We have seen what natural and whole numbers are. We know that whole numbers comprises of the entire set of natural numbers and zero. What are integers then? Along with the whole numbers, the set of integers include negative numbers like -1, -2, -3 and so on. In other words, we can say that integers are the set of numbers that include whole numbers and negative numbers. We have numbers like 1, 2, 3, which are used for counting as they are natural numbers. We have a number 0, and its role and use was already discussed in chapter whole numbers. Now the question is, why negative numbers? Let us understand it with some examples. We know that the temperature of Mumbai during summers is above 30 degrees Celsius. In other words, we can say that it's above 0 degrees Celsius, and we usually represent it with a positive sign before a number. Similarly, the temperature of Srinagar during winters falls below 0 degrees Celsius. So we represent it with a negative sign before the number. Similarly, in buildings, the floors above the ground are represented by the positive sign, and the floors below the ground like basement, parking, they are represented by a negative sign. Let us take another example. Suppose a bird is flying at a height of 500 meters above the sea level, and a fish is at a depth of 500 meters below a sea level. So how can we represent the distance between the bird and the fish with respect to land that's near the sea? We can represent their distances mathematically as the distance of bird from the sea level is plus 500 meters. Here this plus represents the height above the sea level. And the depth of fish from the sea level is minus 500. Here minus represents below, that's the depth. Let us take another example. Suppose there are two students, Rahul and Ruchika. Suppose they start walking in opposite directions from a point 0. Rahul walks 5 steps towards right and Ruchika walks 5 steps towards left. We will represent it with respect to 0 as plus 5 and minus 5. Let us take another example. Let's have a student, Harsh. Harsh came to the shop with rupees 30, but he bought things for 35 rupees. He pays shopkeeper rupees 30 and keeps a debt of 5 rupees. So how do you think the shopkeeper will make a note of this? The shopkeeper is going to write minus 5 in front of his name. That represents the money Harsh has to pay. Similarly, when we talk about banks, when we deposit money in a bank, we represent that with a positive sign. And when we take some money from the bank, that is when we withdraw some money from the bank, we represent that with a negative sign. Let us consider profit and loss as well. Suppose if a person bought an article for 20 rupees and he sold it for 25 rupees, it means he got a profit. profit of 5 rupees. So we are going to write the profit with a positive sign. And suppose if he sells it with a loss of 5 rupees, that is, he will sell it on rupees 15. So its loss, that is the loss of 5 rupees, can be represented by the negative numbers. So these are some examples which we represent in our daily life, where we include the numbers with positive and negative signs. So what are integers then? Integers include positive numbers, which we call as positive integers. Integers include negative numbers that we call as negative integers. And it also includes the number 0. And 0 is neither a positive integer nor a negative integer. So we can say that an integers is a set of numbers that include natural numbers, whole numbers, and the negative numbers. In our next DU, we are going to discuss the ordering of integers and the absolute value of integers.